Hey guys, PR's workout of the day. Today we're talking about our skill work. So for this month, we've been working on kettlebells. Now the idea with these sessions are to be really mostly working on getting ourselves familiarized with that rack position. We're gonna develop some snatches and we're gonna work our way into some overhead squats. Now with today, we've got a little bit of a complex. And essentially we've got 8 rounds starting every second minute, but each round is essentially 90 seconds of work with a 30-second rest. And then we're gonna switch arms, okay? So the whole complex we're gonna go through is gonna start off on one side. Once we finish that, we're gonna go to a bike. Then we're gonna go to another side, finish off on a bike, and we're gonna keep going back and forth. So it's 4 rounds each side, total of 16 minutes. After we finish that skill session, we're gonna move into a quick little burner, 18, 15, 12 for time of burp over box, followed with a bike, a really quick bike. Now, for today with the kettlebell, the big thing we really want to focus on is quality and control, mostly control. So we want to think about choosing a weight that's fairly light, and we can always increase the load or decrease the load depending on how our control goes. Now, we've got 3 reps of each movement pattern, and the goal here is to have a flow using the momentum of your kettlebell from your hips. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna start off going over some just basic positional stuff we wanna make sure that we're consistent with throughout this whole month working with our kettlebells. So for today, I'm starting off just back behind my kettlebell. I'm gonna hinge back, drop down, I'm grabbing out in front. From here, I'm gonna hike it in for 3 single arm swings. Now the single arm swing, I'm coming up, I'm touching at the top. And the reason why I wanna touch the top is that's gonna keep me from letting that arm get out and away. We want to stack our shoulders, get nice and organized so we're keeping our core tight and active. So we've got 3 single arm swings right into 3 high pulls. Now with the high pulls, you'll notice that kettlebell is kind of floating up there. It's not dropping. I want to use my hips for some momentum and guide that weight back. From there, 3 kettlebell cleans. Now for the clean, the big thing we need to focus on is this rack position. We want to make sure that we're catching it with our hand just inside of our collarbone. We do not want to be out here. We're not catching it up here. And we really want to try to avoid a flip. What I mean by a flip, that guy, not the ticket. It's going to bruise you up, beat you up, and it's really uncomfortable. So what we need to think about is it's more of a corkscrew. So I'm rolling it up. The kettlebell does not flip over. It rolls, okay? Now, once we get it into that rack position, we're going to go into 3 presses. Let's try to keep them strict as possible. If we need to use a little leg drive, totally fine, just to avoid that range of motion. Then, the fun part, we've got our overhead squats. So keeping that weight stacked up overhead, nice and organized, we want to use our non-working arm off to the side as a counterweight, and then sit through that whole range of motion. Now, if we find ourselves limited in this range of motion, let's fight for our depth. And one thing we can do is add a little bit of a rotation looking up at it. Just make sure we're pushing that opposite leg out. We don't want to find ourselves collapsing down. And if we can't get in this position with the weight overhead, let's modify today with a front squat. Then we're going to finish it out with 3 lunges. Now the overhead, we're stacking it, keeping it stacked. The same arm that's overhead is the same leg that's going to stay in front. So I'm going to step back with my opposite leg. So this whole right side of my body is the thing that's working. Okay, so we've got 3 presses, or 3 lunges. Once we finish those, kettlebell goes down, hop on your bike, ride until that 90 seconds ends, so then we have a 30-second rest transition to go to the other side, okay? Now keep in mind, guys, quality over intensity, so lower the weight, and if we just can't get into a good position with that kettlebell, this whole complex can be done with a dumbbell. So just kind of keep that in mind. Once we're done with that, we've got our burp over box. Burp, hop down, hips and shoulders are pretty much level. Hop up and over. Once we finish, 18, we're gonna hop on a bike. Ladies got 10 calories, guys got 15. Smash it, then we've got 15, bike, 12, bike. The bike stays the same the whole way across. Have fun, guys.